zombies. Brento's budget filmmaking podcast. He'll help you make your own without a lot of money. He'll walk you through the steps to make a film with little to no budget. Brento's budget filmmaking podcast. Brento's budget filmmaking podcast. Yeah.
Hello, this is Brent Bowers, and you are listening to Brento's Budget Filmmaking Podcast. And this is Negative Day 4. I'm going to go a little bit more off the cuff today, as you can probably hear by the recording that I'm driving. As we get closer to the actual shoot date, I'm going to have to do more of these on the road, as it were, due to just being busy in my off-work hours preparing, for the production. Things have definitely ratcheted up a bit here as we get closer, just a few days away from the beginning of the shoot. Additional refinements to the script, additional location changes, which you never want to do the week of, but unfortunately in our case it became necessary. Had some casting, well, not really cast at this point, but crew changes. It's funny, the more notice that you give your friends and compatriots who you think you're going to work with, one would think that would result in a higher retention rate, but actually in my experience it doesn't make a difference. You want to give folks I'd say at least 2 weeks, but in my case I gave several folks 3 months who firmly committed to the project, and then I get the distinct impression that they just weren't, for whatever reason, enthusiastic when it came time to actually do dedicate their weekend to your project. Sometimes you find folks will have all kinds of ridiculous excuses, like somebody who works a Monday through Friday 8-hour job. Oh, I have to work both days this weekend. Wait a minute, you don't work on the weekends, what? So it's that sort of a thing, and typically if somebody tells me one of those yarns, I'll probably not ask them to help out again, just because that's their way of telling you, hey, I'm not committed to your project, and also I'm not great about sticking to my word. So what you gonna do? I could call them on it, but I probably won't, because what does that benefit you? You just gotta avoid getting quagmired in the negativity and folks that you thought might help or whatever, and end up not helping. And keep on rolling. That's what we're doing. I would say it's just about time to go make my shopping trip for the catering, which I'll do that at the latest on Friday night. Well, I'm again on negative day 1. Sorry, I'm trying to not date this. I'm still a few props away and a couple of wardrobe pieces away, but that's all things that I can take care of in the last few days. I did find out we do have the schedule now, which in this case, and I let the cinematographer make it out, because he's, real left brain thinker on stuff like that, and I really hate doing schedules, but that's kind of what we're ironing out right now. And as it turns out, we are going to shoot out a sequence, which oftentimes it's more convenient to do that. And in order to avoid having to have more than a 2-day shoot, we're going to do some day for night, which I've messed around with that, but I've never actually shot footage for that intentionally. And my DP seems to think that that's something we can do effectively and just make it a faster shoot. So I'm all for that, because that means I'm feeding less people. Speaking of feeding less people, originally I had planned for a casting crew of 10, and now it looks like I'll have a casting crew of 8, so there's a little bit of a budget savings on food, and I welcome it. It means that those of us helping on the crew probably will have to hustle just a little bit more, but it shouldn't be too bad. This is a relatively small project with few locations, so that's good news. I did go out and scout out an alleyway that I want to use. It's actually in downtown Charlotte, and I anticipate we'll be able to get away with Roger Cormaning it, as they say, just showing up, shooting it before the authorities arrive. And you never know. After 9/11, I've had some issues taking photographs downtown around buildings and such, and a couple times I've been confronted by security guards, and I understand that, but I'm thinking that 10 years on, it's probably laxed up a little bit. And considering we're going to be shooting on the street on Saturday, and they'll be able to plainly see what we're doing, so I'm hoping that they'll just kind of let it go. And if they don't, we'll just go to a few blocks over to another alleyway and try it all again. There's only 3 or 4 shots in the scene that takes place in the alleyway and on the street, so I'm hopeful. We'll be using the DP will be using a glide cam, and there won't be any generator, won't be any lights, and that's the big benefit of shooting at day for night. So I'm hopeful that we can make that work. I think there's a good chance we can make that work. So yeah, that's what it is here on day -4, and we'll be looking forward to getting things up and running and getting very close to pulling the trigger on the production. So thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.